Hello, my name is Beck and today I'm going to be showing you the 2019 anticipated releases that I have my eye on. It is possible that I have overlooked one or two books, so in that case I may make another video down the track. And these books also aren't in order of release date, so if editing Beck remembers, I will put the release date on the screen. The first book on this list is In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire, and this is the fourth book in the Wayward Children series. In this book we follow our main character Lundy, which we have previously met in Every Heart a Doorway, and she finds a door founded on logic and reason and she stumbles into the goblin market. I really love how unique and fantastical these novellas are, and I pre-ordered this on audiobook as soon as I could. The next book on this list is Highway Bodies by Alison Evans. This is a queer zombie apocalypse book about friends and chosen family, and I feel like it will have the perfect balance of tension and zombies in it. I really enjoyed Ida by Alison, and I can't wait to read more of their writing. I really want to read Four Dead Queens as well. This is a debut fantasy young adult novel by an Australian author. I'll just read you the tagline. It is a divided nation, four queens, a ruthless pickpocket, a noble messenger, and the murders that unite them. Even though I don't usually get hyped up about a lot of young adult fantasy, I'm just super happy that this is an Australian book and I can't wait to get into it. I'm hoping it will be a little bit unique as well. This next book is one of my hugely anticipated releases of this year, and it is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, which I was lucky enough to receive an ARC of from Bloomsbury Publishing. I have already talked about this a fair bit, but it's a standalone adult fantasy book by the same author that wrote The Bone Season, which I really love. I know this has a queendom and dragons in it as the cover says, and I'm really excited and I can't wait to start it, and I'm hoping to share some reading vlogs of this as well. With this next release, I'm actually breaking my trend of fantasy books, and it is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This book is a young adult contemporary about our main character Bree, who is 16 years old and wants to become the greatest rapper of all time. This book is Angie Thomas's homage to hip hop, and after how brilliant her first book Thug was, I can't wait to see how stunning this next book is as well. Okay, so this next book, I'm trying not to get too excited about it. It is the fifth book in the Red Rising series called Dark Age. While I absolutely adore the Red Rising trilogy, I didn't get really blown away by the fourth book Iron Gold. But Dark Age has the potential for a lot of action, whereas Iron Gold had a lot of politics in it. So I'm really hoping that Dark Age renews my love for the series. Iron Gold did take a character that I really loved and warped him to fit the plot of the story, and he did things that weren't really in character, so I'm hoping Dark Age brings that back into line. While I'm looking forward to Dark Age, I'm trying to obviously not get overexcited about it, but I'm really hoping that it's good. This next book is probably my most anticipated of 2019 because it was supposed to publish in 2018, but it got pushed back, and it is Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the Nevernight series, and I'm sure you've heard about Nevernight before, but in case you haven't, I do have a spoiler-free review for this book, so I'll leave it linked below for you. But it follows our main character Mia Corvea, and she joins a school for assassins so that she can learn the rules of being an assassin and get revenge on the people who murdered her family. This plot is so twisty and sarcastic, which is why I really love it. And even though it does have sexually explicit and violent themes, I probably wouldn't class this as adult, and I wouldn't class it as young adult either. It kind of sits on the cusp between both, but the tone is more young adult, so it's very easy to get into. This next release is also by one of my favourite authors, and it is the fourth book in the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan. This series is about our god Apollo, and he gets banished from Olympus by Zeus, and he has to go down to help the demigods find and restore these 5 ancient oracles. In each of these books, we follow side characters from each of Rick Riordan's series, so in this next installment we get to go and see Camp Jupiter again with the Roman demigods. And also I wanted to add another Rick Riordan book to this list, but then when I was googling it I realised that I've actually finished the series and I thought there would be more, but there is no Magnus Chase book 4, there's just the trilogy, and I'm very sad about it. What would this anticipated list be without a book by Brandon Sanderson on it? So I have Starsight, which is Skyward Book 2. Skyward made my 5 favourite books of 2018, so I'm highly anticipating its sequel, but there's not really any information or a synopsis or even a book cover yet for it, and it comes out at the end of this year. This next book is also a sci-fi book, and it is Deviate, which is book 2 in Jay Kristoff's Lifelike series. The synopsis for Deviate will spoil you so hard for Lifelike that you'll probably get whiplash, so please don't read up on it if you don't want to be spoiled for the first book. When Lifelike first came out, I really wanted to love it, but there were a few tropey things in it and I predicted the ending. So even though I wanted to be obsessed, I didn't quite love it. The thing that made me reflect and realize that I did enjoy it is a major spoiler though, so I really can't say why I changed my mind. I really want to pick up the sequel because it follows Lemon, which was my favourite character in book 1. This is a very steampunky young adult sci-fi, and while I did predict the twists in book 1, I really don't think I'll be able to do that in book 2, which is why I'm really looking forward to it. So this next book is also by Jay Kristoff, but it is co-written by Amy Kaufman, and they wrote the Illuminae series together, and this is their newest sci-fi book, and it's called Aurora Rising. As usual, the synopsis for a book by these two authors is a mile long, so I have not memorized it for this video, but it's set around the time of 2038 at Aurora Academy, and it follows 6 graduate students. The next book on this list is Queenslayer by Sebastian de Castell, and this is the 4th book in his Spellslinger series. This is continuing Kellen's adventure, so I can't really really tell you where he is or what he's doing, but I can tell you that Spellslinger is a young adult fantasy series. It follows our main character Kellen, and he lives in a world of magic, but he's kind of the invert of the chosen one trope, and he doesn't have magic, but he has to kind of make his way through by bluff and tricks, which is why I really like him, because I can't predict anything that he'll do. I'm also really glad that Sebastian writes these young adult series very quickly, because if he didn't, I would definitely go into withdrawals waiting for the next book. The next book is by the same author that wrote A Thousand Perfect Notes, and it is The Boy Who Steals Houses by C.G. Drews. Like A Thousand Perfect Notes, this book follows two siblings as well, but one of them has autism, and this time they're both brothers rather than brother and sister. I didn't really read too much into the synopsis because I like being surprised by contemporary. I've just got two more books to talk about. So the second to last book is Middle Grade, and it is the second book in the City of Ghosts series by Victoria Schwab. This book is called The Tunnel of Bones, and this series follows Cassidy Blake, and she is a young girl who had a near-death experience and then was saved by her best friend Jacob, who is actually a ghost. Her family have a ghost show, and that means that they travel to different countries to film different episodes. The first book was set in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I believe the second book is set in Paris. And the last book on this list is Lightbringer number 5 by Brent Weeks. I believe this is the last installment to his Black Prism series. At the time of filming this video, I have only read book 1, but I'm planning on catching up on the series so I can read book 5 when it comes out later this year. I also mentioned in my 2019 goals video that this series was going to be one that I wanted to complete this year. I love the magic system in this series. It is based on light and it's very complex, and I also did a spoiler-free review of the first book if you wanted to go and check that out. And that's it. Those are all my 2019 anticipated releases. Hopefully I haven't forgotten any. Let me know what your most anticipated release for this year is in the comments, and I'll chat to you in my next video. Bye!